funeral is about to begin, sir.
I think we just picked up Dracula. It's got a death curse!
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.
Welcome back to another episode of Never Not Horror. I am Steve Clark.
And I am Rich Hansel.
And this is episode 20 of our deep dive movie reviews. It's cool that we made it. I mean,
I know.
That's episode 20, but realistically, this is episode like almost 40 because of Quick Cut. So,
yeah.
But yeah, so we are moving, just chugging right along into the new year. Excited to get on to all the movies we want to get to and all the Quick Cut topics and features. I just keep coming up with more that I haven't even told you about yet, but there's just no end to it. It's good stuff. So if you are new to the show, well, before we do that, this week is my pick. So my pick, I announced it on Quick Cuts last week. We are doing a deep dive review of the Blair Witch Project from 1999. So if you are new to the show, we do our deep dive movie reviews in 4 sections. We will open up with our history with the movie. Then we will talk about some behind the scenes fun fact, cast and crew kind of stuff. At that point, we will get into a full plot walkthrough with spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, that is where you're going to want to take a time out, go watch the movie, and then come back and finish the podcast. And then when we're done with that, we will give our official Never Not Horror Howls rating and review. So, the Blair Witch Project. I will start, since it's my pick, I'll start with my history. So, I saw this movie, I'm thinking it was probably opening weekend in the movie theater. There was a lot of buzz. 99, I was 16 years old. Went with my brother Donald. And it is one of 2 times in my life that I have gone to a movie that was sold out. Like, there was not an empty seat in the theater. And the other one was Flubber, the Robin Williams movie.
Wow.
A lot of kids running around in that one. But yeah, so Blair Witch and Flubber are the 2. But yeah, so opening weekend, saw the Blair Witch Project, and it blew me away. Like, my brother and I, like, we were both really into music, and so anytime we'd go anywhere, we'd be playing a CD, talking albums and rock music and stuff. And that is one of the few times, like, I remember we didn't even turn the radio on the way home. Like, we just talked about the movie all the way home. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Just blew me away. Like, one of my all-time favorite theater experiences. And got it on DVD as soon as the DVD came out. And now it's one of those comfort watches for me. Like, it's a movie I throw on all the time. Like, if I'm just laying around, there is no time that I don't feel like watching the Blair Witch Project. So,
yeah.
And I get it's a divisive movie. But by no means was it the first found footage movie, but I think it was the first one that blew up to the level of just pop culture, like fandom that this one has.
It was crazy.
So I get it. Like, I know a lot of people. It almost seems it's one of those movies. It's a love it or hate it. Like, I don't run into many people who say they're like, it was all right about the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
You either loved it or you absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
So I am firmly in the love it camp. So what about you? What is your history with the Blair Witch?
I saw the Blair Witch Project in theater as well. I'm not sure if it was opening weekend. I do know that I did not watch, or I didn't even know there was what was it? The Curse, the little kind of documentary that they had before.
I don't know. I'm not sure about it.
It kind of looked like newscasts and stuff.
Oh, you mean like the marketing stuff they did? Like, the website and everything?
Yeah. I had no idea.
So you didn't know about that, okay.
But I knew that it was not real.
Okay, yeah.
I wasn't going in as one of the, because some people went in thinking it was real.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah. And it was me and 3 other friends, and I loved it. Yeah. I'm in the camp of I love it too. There was nothing I didn't like about it. I was something totally different for me to see.
Mhm.
I hadn't seen any found footage. I think the closest thing I saw was The Legend of Boggy Creek, if you want to
Yeah.
call that kind of a mockumentary
Yep,
style movie.
right.
But other than that, it was fresh for me.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, you hinted at the marketing thing, and that's one of the things I want to get into with the behind the scenes. So let's jump into that. So here we go with some fun facts.
Come closer. Let's take a look behind the curtain.
All right. So yeah, the Blair Witch Project came out in 1999. It was directed by Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez, and it's basically a cast of 3. The actors in the movie used their real names in the movie. So we had Heather Donahue, Josh Leonard, and Mike Williams. So really, okay, let's just get the marketing thing. So this movie it was just a genius marketing plan. Like, before the movie released, they created a website and they filled it with like fake police reports and I think there might have even been news footage, but just they did all this stuff to make this look like this was an actual documentary and this really happened. And then this movie documentary of their footage was coming out. So like you went in, you knew it was a movie, but there were people who went into this thinking that this was totally legit, to the point that after the movie came out, like, they had the actors like kind of in seclusion, like not going to press events and not going to premieres or anything to help support that. And they held it for a little bit. Like, there were people that truly believed this was real stuff. So just a genius marketing plan.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, to be able to pull that off and it works so well is just craziness. And then so I know a lot about this movie and the filming of it because there is a book, an author named Matt Blasey wrote in collaboration with the creators. He wrote a book called 8 Days in the Woods, The Making of the Blair Witch Project. And I have the book. I actually met Matt at the AuthorCon convention I went to a couple years ago. He was selling bags of dirt from Burkittsville from the forest, and signed it. And I'd already bought the book, so I took it with me because I knew he was going to be there, and he signed my book and stuff. But
gotta make a buck.
Yep. So I've met Matt. He's a good dude. It's like a textbook. It's a thick, almost like a coffee table book, and it just tells you everything and more that you would want to know, like the creation of Haxon Films, the production company that made the movie. They were all just film students that were friends in film school, and then they made this studio, and over the course of a couple years just strung this thing together, pulled financing here and there, and just really like guerrilla filming, like as indie as you could possibly go. But they talk a lot about so a lot of basically everything, like all the dialogue, nothing is really scripted. Everything is improv. Like they were given basic direction. So, and it's really, it's crazy how they did this. Like the actors knew what they were doing. So they went into the woods. They were in the woods for 8 days, and they would give them like note cards with like general instruction. Like, you guys are going to go here. And then sometimes there would be something specifically for one of them, and it would be like, you are going to do this, work it in however you feel is natural. And they filmed everything, and then they just cut it together in the best way they could. And they had a safe word where they could break characters, and the safe word was taco. And if something happened where they had to break character and stop filming, they would say taco, and everybody would stop. The directors would come out, who were always nearby but not too close, to try to let them just really do it. And they provided them less food as the shoot went on to help just promote,
agitate them a little bit.
Yeah. And when we do the plot walkthrough, there are things specifically that I'll point out that were just like changes that happened because of how things were progressing. And just, it's fascinating to me the way this came together. Like, I don't know the ins and outs of a lot of movies like I do this one, just because I've read that book, but very, very interesting stuff. there's more, but we'll do it when we get there because I don't want to spoil anything.
Okay.
So we got that. Did you pull budget for this?
Yeah.
I've seen this a little bit, but go ahead and wow us.
Yeah, this is a big one here.
Yeah.
So pre-production was, and I've got a span between 35,000 and 65,000. That's pre-production. Now post-production with all the other stuff, the marketing and everything, was 200,000 to 750,000.
Yep.
And then our box office, $248.6 million
dollars,
over $250 million
off of a movie that cost, in the end, about $250,000.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus Christ.
That
I
is
mean,
a winner.
This movie is just a perfect storm of,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Lightning in a bottle.
Now I do know there are sequels but how did that budget and that box office happen and not just they must have had to have turned down different production companies to do more.
Yeah,
because I think there's only maybe 4 other films.
There's only 2 others.
2 other films.
Yeah, and that I'm surprised by that too. Well, I'm not. So the first sequel is called the Book of Shadows, the Blair Witch 2 or whatever, Blair Witch, the Book of Shadows. That is a guilty pleasure. I really like that movie, but it is notoriously panned. Like, people hate, because it's not a found footage movie. It's a normal movie about people like in the hype of Blair Witch fever, and this guy does Blair Witch tours, and he takes people who love the movie out to the forest and
Burkittsville.
Yeah, and then weird shit happens to them. I really like that movie. Most people hate it.
I've seen it, but I don't remember much. Was that the one where at the end they're digging through the tunnel? Or was that the Blair Witch?
That was the newer one.
Okay. That one freaked me out.
That one's just called Blair Witch.
Yeah.
And I need to give that one another shot. I watched it, and I didn't really like it very much the first time, but I'm pretty biased.
Yeah.
Well, sort of, because I really like Book of Shadows, and most people don't. Matt Blasey, the guy that wrote the book, I said to him, like, I'm one of the few people that really likes Blair or Book of Shadows, and he's like, well, you're wrong. But so yeah, I mean, I guess maybe because that movie didn't do so well, they didn't just, because it's a movie that profitable. Yeah. Normally, a studio is just going to churn out 15 sequels, but they haven't really done that.
Probably for the better too.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah, not to oversaturate it. There is a Blair. Well, I think there's more than. I think there were some computer games back in like the late 90s, early 2000s, Blair Witch. But then in like 2017, 2018, 2019, something like that, I think it was around then, a Blair Witch like PlayStation game came out.
Yeah.
I've played it a little bit. It's all right, but to the point I was talking about earlier with people love it or hate it, Rotten Tomatoes firmly backs that up because the tomato meter critic score is 86%, which is good. The popcorn fan score is 57.
Wow.
So
still pretty good.
It's still, I mean, you're above 50, but it just showcases about half the people that watch this really don't like it.
Yeah.
And I know people, I know people who are horror fans that do not like this movie at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure my brother Jim doesn't like it.
Really?
I think he'll correct me when he hears this if I'm wrong, but I don't think he cares for it. My cousin Buddha, he doesn't like this movie, I'm pretty sure. Also can correct me. But, so yeah, people that I know are just, it's not for everybody, but it is for me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to hit? I don't think so. I think the main thing, anything else I wanted to hit, we'll bring up in the walkthrough. So,
okay.
You got anything else before we go?
I don't think so. I guess I do have a couple questions. Did the 3 actors know each other before the film? Do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
From what I recall, no.
Okay.
And I don't know. I know Heather. I remember she was in a Steak and Shake commercial, like around the same time, because I remember seeing that commercial, be like, "Holy shit, it's Heather!"
Yeah.
But the other guys, like I know Mike is involved in film still. I don't know that he acts very much, but I think he's in like producing and just the behind the scenes business. And I'm not sure about Josh, but yeah, they didn't like, they just like got brought in, like auditioned for stuff and for the movie when Haxon Film was putting it together. So, all right. Well, on that note, if you have not seen Blair Witch Project, go watch it. It is not streaming anywhere right now, I don't believe.
It's a hard one to find right now.
You can rent it or buy it digitally. You can buy it on DVD. I couldn't even
buy it.
Really?
I tried to buy it on multiple Amazon. I couldn't buy it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird. I bought it because I own it on digital on Fandango at home.
Yeah,
and
it could be on Fandango, but I think I even looked on there and I couldn't find it.
Maybe it's not now, and I just have it because I had already bought it. But
yeah.
I have it on DVD also, though.
Yeah,
but
that's where I watched it. I have it on DVD, but I had to get up in the attic, which means I have to get a ladder out and the access panel right in there.
Damn. All right.
And I dug through.
I didn't know I was going to have to make you work so hard.
It wasn't the last DVD I found. It wasn't the last box I scoured through.
It wasn't the first, though.
It was not the first.
Okay.
I have a lot of DVDs and Blu-rays up there.
Yeah. I've gotten rid of quite a bit, but my oldest daughter has a pretty sizable collection she keeps in her room, and she has some of my older stuff up there too.
That's cool.
I've switched to digital though. All right. So, go check out the movie if you don't want to be spoiled, and then come back and we'll walk you through.
Last chance to turn back. Don't say we didn't warn ya.
So I will forewarn with this walkthrough, it's kind of a hard movie to walk through because it's so improv, and so bear with me as we go through this. But, so the Blair Witch opens with some text on a screen. I'm always in for that. Always enjoy that. In October of 1994, 3 student filmmakers disappeared in the woods near Burkittsville, Maryland, while shooting a documentary. A year later, their footage was found. After we get that screen, then the camera comes on and it's blurry, comes into focus, and we meet Heather Donahue. She is the leader, the director of this documentary, and she's talking to the camera, doing some practice work or whatever. Lets us know she is leaving home for the weekend to research the Blair Witch.
Gonna be in the woods.
Yeah. So then we meet Josh Leonard, and he is the camera guy for the most part. He is going with her. They don't really explain a lot of but we get the sense that they know each other pretty well, so they're friendly. I read some stuff that potentially maybe they used in the lore, they might have been together at one point, but now they're just friends. But they don't talk about that in the movie, so that's just people guessing, insinuating. So then they mention that they have to pick up Mike. Mike is the sound guy, and so we see them picking him up that morning at his house, and they've not met him. He's someone that I guess they put out an ad or something to get a sound. He's basically the sound and battery guy, more of a tech thing. So now we have our group together, Heather, Josh, and Mike.
I like how in that scene where they're all together, when they first get together, they talk about how they got so much battery power that they can. Yeah. And it gives you that reason why they can film so long.
That's a good point. Yeah. Because if you, like we've talked about in the past with found footage, you end up you have to answer the question of why are you filming all this?
Yeah.
Which this is an easy one. It's a documentary.
Yeah, he brought extra
for as long as they're going to be out there. Yes,
I think she said, "I have enough battery. You have enough battery to power a third world country or something."
Right. Yeah, that's in the car, and then we see them. They're shopping for some food, some supplies, and stuff. And then they start interviewing local people about the Blair Witch. Some people know things and others don't, not so much. The intro scene they film, the first slate, and it's a clip of Heather reading an intro about Burkittsville, formerly known as Blair, which is where the Blair Witch thing comes from. She talks about how there's an unusually high number of children in the cemetery where they're filming this intro. So they record their opening scene. we see some more interview stuff. There's an old man that tells them stories. He tells them the story of Rustin Parr, who was an old hermit who lived in the woods. According to his story, he came into town. This was like back in the 40s or something. He came into town down from the woods and said he's finally finished, but nobody knew what he was talking about. So they went back up to his house and found the bodies of 7 missing children.
Yeah.
And he had murdered 7 kids. There's another younger guy that adds to that story and says that the legend is that he would take them down in the basement 2 at a time and put one in the corner and then kill the other one. And said he couldn't take the eyes on him when he killed him. So that's why he made him face the corner.
That right there is one of the most important lines in this movie. If you're watching it for the first time,
you won't know that if you're watching it the first time.
Right, you won't know it.
But remember that.
Yeah, remember that. Very, very important.
Yeah. There's a funny one. They interview this really old guy, 90-year-old dude, and Heather said, "You believe in witchcraft?" He says, "Nope."
He said, "No, sir."
And she says, "No, sir." It's like, "Are you a religious man?" "Yep." "All righty."
Interview over.
Yeah. Then the old guy that told the Rustin Parr story tells them about Mary Brown, who the town kind of sees as an old crazy lady. So they go to her house, and she is an old crazy lady. Mm-hmm. But she tells them a story about her youth and an experience that she had allegedly with the witch. She says that she was a young girl and she was in the forest laying down on some leaves looking at the sky, and says she felt something near her. And then she looked up, and there was a woman with fur-covered arms and hands. So she didn't speak, but she was just staring at her, and then she opened her shawl, and her whole body was covered in hair. So we get that story, then they leave, and they're just going on about how crazy this lady is, that she's just a nut job. Heather says, she also says that she's a ballerina, and she's writing a book on American history. And
yeah, so they're not taking her very seriously.
All right, so they get to a hotel for the night, and we get some team building, camaraderie kind of stuff. Funny line here, and I noted a few of these funny lines just because it wasn't scripted. So like, it's just, I appreciate that they pulled just the timing and like the way they pulled this together. But Heather mentions doing an equipment check, and Mike says, "I've got a bag of Utz and a beer." And then Heather takes a shot. This is funny. Like, she takes a shot of scotch, drinks it from the bottle, and the look on her face is genuine when you get a big old slug of something you don't like. And she says, "I fucking hate scotch." So I've had that face before after taking a shot of something. So the next morning, now we are heading out to the trail. They come across a couple guys fishing, and it's an old man and then a young middle-aged guy. I think they might be father and son. But the old guy, when he hears them say what they're doing, he says, "You damn fool kids will never learn."
Yeah.
But the younger guy, his son, thinks that it's all bullshit. The old man, he's a believer, though. He tells them about a woman named Robin Weaver, who was a girl in the 1800s, wandered off into the woods and got lost. And then the story goes that 3 days later, she shows up on her grandmother's porch talking about an old woman whose feet never touched the ground. And then the old man says that he one time saw a misty figure come up out of the water when he was fishing one time. Didn't know what it was.
Right over there.
Right over there. His son's like, "You're full of shit." So you were drinking, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I wasn't drinking.
Yeah, he said, "I'm telling you."
Yep. And then he mentions Coffin Rock. And we'll come back to that here in a second. So they reach the trail entrance, and they park the car, load up their gear, and they head into the woods. That reminds me, that was something I was going to talk to you about in the intro stuff that I forgot about. But I, myself, am not a camper. Never have been. But you are.
Yeah, we backpack.
And you do, like, legit, like, tent, like, out into the, not just going to Houston Woods to the campgrounds. I mean, you do that too, but
we hiked through Red River Gorge.
You hike like these guys did.
It was brutal.
Yeah, so I wondered, just side note, have you ever had any strange experiences in the woods when you were camping?
Yeah, I've had several creepy things. A lot of it turned out to be animals, but we did have one where something was throwing rocks in the creek. We was camping next to a creek, and you could hear, I mean, it was kaplunk. It wasn't little pebbles. And I thought maybe the bank was caving in or something. So I'd go over, and the bank was not caving in because the water was a little bit up. So it might knock the bank in, but it still wouldn't sound like a kaplunk. And I mean, there was nobody around. And I walked over to look at it, and I heard it again. Didn't see where it came from, but I heard a kaplunk. And I backed away pretty quick. And I said, Aaron, somebody's throwing shit at us, I'm telling you. I mean, there was nobody around. And it was a wide enough creek where you couldn't throw a rock that far.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it was. But it scared the shit out of me.
Where was this at?
It was at, I think it was in Red River Gorge.
That's Kentucky, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, we go every year. Man. It's great times.
Who knows? I believe you.
I don't know what it was. It could have been. It could have been turtles, but they usually slide off of logs.
Mm-hmm.
They don't jump off a log.
Right. Interesting. Could have been anything. Could have been a cryptid.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's first thought was mine was a Bigfoot throwing boulders across the creek at us.
A dog man. If my buddy Chuck Buddha is listening this time, he's a big cryptid guy, and he found out that. So did you know about the dog man?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Like I didn't know until Chuck told me that around here, like nearby, like Germantown area, like there's dog man sightings.
I love that stuff. The frog man.
The Loveland frog man,
That's crazy.
I think of that my very first.
Have you seen the movie The Frog Man?
No.
Oh my God, we need to do a deep dive.
I didn't even know there was one.
Oh, it's great. It's new.
Really?
2023 or later.
No shit.
Yes, it is good.
I'm
very
intrigued.
very indie film.
It would have to be. But yeah, my first published story was about the Frogman because I got invited to do a story in a book of folklore and urban legends, and the theme was to do something local to us, and I did a story about the Loveland Frogman.
Yeah, my grandson had a football game in Loveland, and as I got there, I'm like, "Holy shit, I'm in Loveland! Where's the frog?" And I'm looking, and it is very rural, and I'm looking all over, and of course, I never saw a frogman, but I had just seen the movie, so I was all jacked up.
I think they sell somewhere there must be a gift shop or something in Loveland.
Yeah,
because you can buy I saw the Frogman T-shirts and stuff.
But it's like a found footage.
Oh yeah, the movie is.
The movie is. It's really good. Like they go out to try to find the Frogman.
No shit.
It's kind of like the Blair Witch. I'm sure they probably stole the idea, but
what's the movie called? Just Frogman.
Frogman.
No shit.
It's a great movie.
I'm going to look it up for sure. All right, I derailed us. But
sorry about that.
Let's get back to it. So they reached the trailhead. So they park the car and they leave and they go marching into the woods. And you get this lingering cut of the car as they're walking away with a little foreshadowing.
Yeah.
They're never going to see it again. Spoiler. So they're on their way to Coffin Rock. That's their next shooting spot. Heather mentions, she's like, I know exactly where we are now, which insinuates that she might have gotten a little bit lost, but they do find the place. And then Heather tells the story while they're recording that 5 men were found there, bound to each other by hand and feet to each other, forming a solid structure. Blood at the scene suggested that they were alive at the time, and their stomachs had been torn open, and there was writing carved into their faces, so a pretty gnarly scene. When the people that found them went and got a rescue party, not a rescue party, I guess, just like somebody to retrieve them, and then when they returned to get the bodies were missing, so they had been removed in a matter of a couple hours.
Yeah.
That's the story. So they filmed that scene there, then they set up camp for the night. Some more, everybody's in good spirits, some more bonding stuff. I made the quote. Somebody said something about farting in the tent, and and Josh says, "I never gave Mike any fart allowance."
Yeah, because she wasn't allowed to smoke.
Yeah,
she's wondering why can't
I can't smoke in the tent.
To fart.
Right. So we cut to the next morning, and they're waking up, and Josh is telling Heather that he heard some noises, 2 noises coming from 2 separate areas. He says one of them could have been an owl, but the other was a cackling for sure.
Yeah.
And so they, Josh said, if I had heard cackling, I would have shit my pants.
And kind of wrote it off after
Yeah,
that.
right. They just roll with it. They're getting ready to go. They're hiking again. Heather admits to some confusion about getting lost for a brief amount of time yesterday. There's a little bit of tension around the getting lost thing, but their spirits are still good. There's a scene Mike has his shirt off, and they're talking about how sporadic his hair patterns are on his chest. And he says, you should see my ass. There's Heather's in the bushes, and I think Josh is recording. He said, is that the Blair Witch? No, I think it's Heather taking a piss. Just little stuff. Yeah, it's goofy stuff, but just it's authentic.
It's shit that you do.
Right. And it is that way because it's not scripted. Like it's just them in the woods. Like, you guys just do this. Like, you have a direction generally what you're doing, but just be yourselves and do this and stay in character. So I have a lot of respect for that. So they're hot on the cemetery trail. Says me, of course, says Heather. And so that's like their other filming. So they had basically their two main spots, Coffin Rock and then the cemetery. They do a map check. There's some more tension around possibly being lost. Heather insists that she knows where they are. Heather and Mike get into it, but Josh tries to calm it down. He says he can figure it out, so he's looking at the map. Mike says the map is Greek to him and it's useless. So, and he's also annoyed at Heather for having every conversation on video, which that comes up a couple times. Like, even in the hotel the very first morning, he's like, I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
And she kind of explains it away. She's like, we're making a documentary. And he's like, not about us getting lost.
Yeah.
They're back to hiking. They have to cross a stream on a fallen tree. They finally make it to the cemetery, to their shooting location, which is not a traditional cemetery. There's no headstones, but there's piles of rocks. Some of them are like tied together in bundles with sticks and like some marking grave spot. So they do their filming thing there and get some footage. So we go to that night. They're sitting around the campfire. Some more bonding stuff. And I appreciate these things. Like, you really feel for these guys. Like this, like, you get to like all of them. One of my favorite joke things that happens in the movie, they're talking about Gilligan's Island, and she tells him Josh that he could be the captain, and Mike says, let's stop calling it the captain anymore, you illiterate TV people. It's the skipper.
I love that. That was great.
They go back to the cemetery that night and do like a night shoot, which they basically say same thing, only darker. Heather or somebody accidentally knocks over one of the piles, and Heather puts it back and
kind of freaks out a little bit. Oh my God, you didn't just do that,
right,
did you?
Right. And puts it back and then like kisses her hand and touches the rock. So now we cut to them in the middle of the night. They've been woken up by some noises, so they're turning the cameras on, and you can hear it. And this is another thing. If there was ever a movie worth watching with headphones on or with the TV really loud, and I know it can, especially later, it can be rough because there's a lot of screaming later. But these scenes in particular, the night scenes where they get woken up by noises, if you don't have the TV up pretty loud or headphones on, it's hard to hear.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I wish I'd probably rewatch it again with headphones on.
So when you see it in a theater, you can hear fine.
Yeah.
But if you're just watching TV at home and stuff's going on in the background, it can be easy to miss some, like, the nuances of the stuff that they're hearing, because it's kind of far away stuff sometimes. But this first night, well, it's the second night for them, but you hear branches snapping. Sounds like things just almost sounds like trees falling in the woods or something. Just weird noises. Heather's trying to wanting to get out and take video, and Mike he won't come out, says he doesn't hear anything. He's freaking out a little bit, and Heather kind of gives him shit about being scared. The next day, it is raining heavily now. Josh says, they're talking about the noises they heard. Josh says he thinks it was people fucking with Heather.
Yeah, locals,
like they are out here, they're messing with us. And she apologizes to Mike for freaking out on him. And Mike was like, it sounded like a bunch of people running around, and he's like if there are people like messed up enough to come out all the way out here in the middle of nowhere and do that, like, I don't want to mess with that.
Yeah.
And she says, like, what if it wasn't people? And he's like, well, I don't fuck with that either. So, but at this point, like it's time, like it's time to make their way back to the car. They've hit their 2 filming locations, 3 counting the intro. So they're trying to make it back to the car, but it is taking longer than expected. Heather explains, because one of them mentions, I don't remember a portion of this on our way in. Heather explains that the way they're going back is not the way they came, because the way they came was the most direct route to their 2 locations. This is the most direct route back to the car. And Mike is like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Like, they've been lost a couple times, so they're really a little skittish about if she really knows where they're going. They hike through the day, then Heather says they should camp because it's going to be getting dark, and the guys kind of flip out. They both like tell her turn the camera off, and Mike flips out. Heather says the car isn't that far, but they won't be able to find it in the dark. Josh is supposed to be at work the next day, so everybody's frustrated. They should have been home by now.
Yeah, they're getting it on now. Everybody's frustrated and scared.
Tensions are rising. So now we cut to them waking up again to more noises. Same stuff as the night before, really. You can hear them talking. You can't really see much. The cameras are on, but it's dark. You can't really see anything. And the guys are talking, like saying it's not like last night. I think it's deers or something. But then it's like, I don't know, man. It sounds like footsteps. So the next morning, we're up, and they find 3 piles of rocks outside their tent, just like the piles at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And Heather is positive that those were not there when they set up their tent. So, like, how would we have set our tent up right inside 3 piles of rocks like this? There's some debate there, but then Josh is like, we're obviously not wanted here. Let's go the fuck home. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I'm just fucking done, is his quote.
Yep.
All right. So now we reach a turning point in the story where things just really get a little feisty. We cut to a scene where the camera's on Heather, and she's looking at the camera, and she says, "Did you take it?" And Josh is recording. He says, "No, I didn't take the fucking map." So Heather has lost the map. And Josh just flips out on her. She says, she's like, one of you has to have it because I always put it back in the same place and it's not there. Mike's trying to keep the peace. And that role changes throughout the story. Like, there's times where Mike and Heather get into it and Josh is trying to calm it down. And then Josh and Heather and Mike calms it down. It's never the other. It's never Heather calming the boys down, though.
Right.
But
it's one of them.
Usually the case. So there's fighting and frustration there, but they have to keep moving, so they decide to go. There's a scene where they stop, and I always think this part's kind of funny because Josh lays down and just rolls over, and he's like, you guys go ahead. If you find anybody, tell them I'm here by this tree with the vine. But and they kind of make amends a little bit here. They're talking about how it's very hard to get lost in America, and it's even harder to stay lost.
Yeah,
I did quote Mike says we're doing a pretty goddamn good job of being lost though. But Josh mentions like people are expecting them home, so people are going to start looking when they don't get home. So
send out search parties.
So I mean, they can't stay lost forever. We see them. They cross the stream and get wet. And the guys are cracking up. Everybody they're kind of slap happy, stir crazy at this point. And Heather's pissed, and she's like, "You guys seem to having a little bit too much fun for me." And she asks if they have the map, or they're just messing with her.
Yeah.
This is the point where the first time you watch this, you never see this coming. And Mike is just cracking up, and he admits it's so bad, but I kicked that fucking map in the creek yesterday.
My God.
Yeah. So he's like, it was useless. And Heather and Josh just blow their tops.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah. Like, I mean, and it feels genuine. Like they are about to kill this dude.
It's like, see, if you have a little brother or a little sister and you fight with, that's how they're going at it. Yeah. I mean, absolutely going at it. Just hollering at each other.
Yeah. Now, and these are the kind of scenes where having the TV up really loud or headphones can backfire a little bit because Heather has a hell of a scream on her. But so, yeah, I mean, basically they just flip out on Mike. Mike and Josh get into a scuffle, but then Josh gets into it with Heather too. And he's like, why can't you admit that you've been screwed since you got out here? So everybody is just like they are at the end of their ropes.
Yeah.
And then while they're hiking, they find these stick figures, the famous stick figures from on some of the covers of like later printings of the movie. I don't think they're on the original one, but the Blair Witch stick figures are just hanging in the trees.
Yeah.
Some are like little ones. Then there's huge ones with like leaves growing on them, just everywhere.
Creepy look.
It is very creepy. Side note, I'll throw in a little anecdote here. Another reason I love this movie so much, and I love that stick figure, and I'm not sure if my little sister listens to this or not, but I'll have to tell her to listen to this one just because it involves her. But my little sister had a sleepover, and they were sleeping in a tent in our backyard, and this was before my brother Donald passed away. And but after, so he died in 2000, this movie came out in 99, so there's a short time in between, but it was in that in-between time. And we knew that she was having friends over and they were camping in the yard. So in the daytime that day, I had made a Blair Witch stick figure. and once they were out in the tent, like I set it up outside their tent, and then me and Donald went outside and like started making noises to lure him out of the tent. And we're hiding. We had a pool then, so we had lots of room, things to hide behind and sneak around. And they came out of the tent and saw the thing and were flipping. They were like 15-year-old girls, whatever, 14. And Donald like lured them to the other side of the yard, and I went around the pool and got in the tent and like inside one of the sleeping bags and covered up.
Oh no.
So they found Donald, like ha ha ha, and like whatever. So they thought it was over. Then they come back to the tent, and I just sat up in the sleeping bag. And they screamed like hurt my ears, just piercing scream in the tent. Just a fun.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So I'll have to tell Amanda, my little sister, to, if she doesn't listen to this one for that memory. But anyway, so yeah, they find all these stick figures. And then I did make a note. I think Mike says when they see all these stick figures, he's like, no redneck is this creative. And then there's a little more walking, and you hear Heather say, I think it's safe to say at this point that we're lost and I don't know what to do. So and now we cut to the nighttime, and they're getting ready to go to sleep, and they agree to not light a fire because the first night they didn't have a fire and nothing happened. And then every night since they've had a fire and they've heard stuff. So they don't. And this time they still wake up, and this time it's next, things have escalated because now they can hear voices. There's like moans, cries, laughing. It sounds like children. You hear a baby crying at times.
That's creepy.
Very weird. So this time they run from the tent and just run into the woods. There's a part where, and I always thought it was kind of funny that the way it goes, because when they take off running, and the camera, Josh has the camera and he's behind Heather, so you can see her, and she's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, she turns and looks. And...
So according to the direction, they were supposed to turn the camera. Like there was one of the directors was like off a ways wearing like a white like sheet, like basically to look scary out there, and she saw him. And she was like, what the fuck is that?
And he was
Josh was supposed to get it on camera, but he didn't get it.
He stays straight ahead.
Yeah, so that's why she says that, but the camera doesn't look.
I think it worked better that way.
Yeah.
Because you, as the viewer, you have no idea what she's seeing, but you know it's something bad, the way she reacts.
Yeah, and that reminds me too, like the direction stuff, like with Mike kicking the map into the creek. Like going into that day, the actor Mike didn't know that. Like that was on a cue card that was only for him, that said, you kick the map into the creek, work it in when it feels like the right time.
Man, nice.
So I love the way that stuff comes together. So they run, and then when they kind of run a ways, and then they stop and hide. They don't hear the voices anymore, so they just ride it out. Basically, they stay in the woods for like an hour till the sun comes up. They go back to the campsite, and they find that their camp has just been like ransacked. Like stuff is thrown around, the tent's knocked over.
slime.
Yes.
Slime everywhere, especially on
Josh's stuff.
Josh's stuff.
Yeah, Josh's pack is messed up. His water's dumped out, and there's slime on his stuff. Josh and Mike both kind of flip out again on Heather because she's still filming. And there's a scene where, like, Heather or Mike tries to take the camera from Heather, and there's a scuffle, and you see the camera bouncing around, and you hear Mike say, "If you try to bite me one more time."
Yeah, I got that. I heard that. I can see her now biting at his hand as he's trying to grab it.
So then we see a scene where they're kind of regrouping, and Josh is filming Heather, and he says, "I know why you like this camera so much, because it's not quite reality."
Yeah, that was pretty powerful right there.
Yeah.
Kind of escaping the whole situation through the camera.
Right. And then Josh kind of breaks down, hits a wall, and he's having a hard time. So Heather's trying to make him like, we got to go. And he's like, just give him a minute. Like, we're not doing any favors if we shove a camera in his face when he's crying and all that. So then we see him walking, like, they're just kind of at wit's end. Like, they're singing the national anthem, like they're kind of just losing it. And then they find a tree falling across the stream that they've already crossed before. Yeah. And this is just like the breaking point for Heather, because she's like, it's not the same tree. It's not the same tree. And she starts crying, saying it over and over because they've been walking all day and they're back where they started the day. And so then we see a scene later, Josh has camera on Heather again, and he just tears into her, like this rant about motivation. And I quoted some of it, and but he tears into her, and I feel bad for Heather in this moment, like, because he's just giving it to her both barrels, and he's just like, "Here's your motivation. You're lost. You're angry in the woods. And no one's here to help you. Like, there's a witch outside your door. She left little trinkets, and you took one. We walked 15 hours a day, and we ended up in the same place. That's your motivation."
Yeah.
And she's just like crying and trying to make him stop, and then the icing, just the stab at the end, like it seems to be over, and then he says, "Are you going to write us a happy ending, Heather?" And it's just like, you get it from his point of view, just the frustration, like, that all this has happened, but
he's putting the blame on her.
But
there.
Yeah. But you just can't help but feel bad for Heather. So that night they apologize in the tent. And then the next morning, which we don't see any footage of what happened in the night, they just wake up the next morning, but Josh is gone. Then there's a lot of screaming for Josh now, but they don't find him. And so now it's just Heather and Mike. Josh is missing, and they have to camp again. That night, they wake up to Josh screaming in the woods somewhere, but they can't find him. The next morning, they wake up, and Heather finds this bundle of sticks tied up with like some flannel material outside the tent. So at first, Heather just picks it up and throws it away. And then a little later, they go back and she opens it, which is a fun note. The directors had to give a note like, "You need to open that," because she wasn't going to do
it. Open the pack.
Open the package. So when she does open it, she finds there is teeth and blood and hair inside it. Now, when I was 16 years old and I saw this, I could not tell what that was at all. It was obviously a bloody something.
Yeah, I saw the tooth. The molar tooth is all I saw.
Yeah.
But there was other stuff, and I couldn't pick that up neither.
Yeah, there was some hair in there, and I think it was multiple teeth. Because a little bit after she looks at it for a minute, she pulls the fabric back a little more, and there's some more teeth in there. So now Mike and Heather, they're trying to keep going, but they've just lost hope. They talk about which way they're going to go, and I thought this was just a fun, not fun, but just it just felt real. Like, they're talking about which way they should go, because they had been walking south the day that they ended up in the same spot. And she's like, "Well, we went south and that didn't work." And Mike was like, "Which one of the witches in the Wizard of Oz was the bad one?" She was like, "The Wicked Witch of the West was the bad one. Let's go east." And then we get the famous Heather monologue scene where it's Heather filming herself. She's got the camera right up in her face, and you can only see from the nose up. But basically, she just apologizes. She says that she's sorry to everyone. She takes the blame for everything. She says everything was her fault and that she insisted on all of this. Like everything had to be her way. So she feels responsible for it all.
She's kind of giving a confessional here.
Yeah. She apologizes to Mike and Josh's parents and her parents. And she's just like at the end, she's just giving up. All right. So then they wake up again to Josh screaming. And they try to, this time they leave the tent. Well, I think they did leave the tent the night before, but they couldn't find him. So this time they're trying to find him again, trying to track the voice, and they find a house this time. They go in and look around, looking for Josh. They can still hear him screaming, but it sounds far away no matter where they're at.
Yeah.
They go into this house, just an old abandoned shack thing. Multiple floors.
Yeah, run down.
Yeah, no windows. Everything's just busted out. They go upstairs to the second floor attic area, and there's handprint, like little kid handprints all over the walls. Really eerie shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're both up there, and then they hear Josh screaming again, and Mike's like, "I hear him in the basement," and he just busts ass down the stairs. Kind of leaves Heather hanging up there. She's trying to catch up with him. And so we see him go down to the basement. He gets to the bottom, and then the camera just falls. There's like a thump, and the camera falls into the dirt. So we cut back to Heather, and she is walking down now, and she's just scared to death, like calling out for Mike and Josh, and she follows him down to the basement. She comes around the corner, into the cellar, comes around the corner, and we see Mike standing in the corner with his back to her. If you recall earlier, we told you to remember that. Mike is standing in the corner, and then we hear like a thwack sound, and then her camera falls. And that is the final frame of the movie. And it's like a kind of a blurred picture. And it's open to interpretation picture. Like, I see something here on this final screen.
You do?
I do. I've from the very first time I saw the movie, I saw what I saw. Did you see anything in that?
No, I have no.
Okay.
This is all new to me.
Okay. Well, after we record, I'm going to pull it up and pause it on that screen on my phone so you can see, and I'll show you what I see. But I see the outline of a witch. I see like the pointy hat when like the face is blacked out. It's like
You
blurred.
do?
I do. I'll show it to you and see if you see it. I'll show you now and see if you see it. Well, it'll take forever. I mean, I'd edit it out, but I'll show you afterwards. But I see that. But that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So it cuts. So it's they never explain like who found the footage or anything. Like they said a year later, their footage was found, but they do talk in Book of Shadows. They do talk about that a little bit, but for our purpose now, that's it. So,
yeah. Amazing ending.
Yeah.
I think they could have rewrote that 100 times. And that would have been the best one.
They did record multiple endings.
I'm so glad they stuck with that.
I like it. There's a picture that I've seen several times. There's a version of the ending where she comes down to the basement and Mike is basically like wrapped up inside one of those stick figures, almost like crucified.
I saw that still picture of that.
That's one of the alternate endings.
That looks silly.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
Him standing in the corner. is creepy as shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like
that absolutely.
Chef's kiss. That's the way to end it.
That is.
All right. Well, we'll get into our rating and review here now. I'm pretty sure I've shown my hand pretty well, but we'll get into it. So here we go.
Now that we've seen what there is to see, how many never not horror howls will be given?
Well, I'll go first. This is my pick, and it's pretty obvious, but I adore this movie. Blew me away in the theaters. I've probably watched it at least 50 times. Just huge fan of one of my all-time favorite movies. And I mean, I love everything about it. I love the camaraderie and how authentic the relationship feels between Heather, Mike, and Josh. And It feels like they're really lost in the woods. Like, they sell it so well. It's creepy. They don't overplay their hand at any point. They don't try to show you anything that looks... And that was kind of my problem with the first time that I watched the newest Blair Witch. Like, they actually show this witch monster thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I want that.
Mhm.
But in this one, it's just like they let your mind do the rest. And I love it. The shaky camera stuff feels real. It doesn't bother me. I'm a huge fan. It is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, and it is a 5 out of 5 house for me.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, this is definitely one of my all-time favorites. So I get it. It's not for everybody. Some people don't like it at all, but for me, it's a 5 out of 5. One of my favorite movies ever.
Man, oh man. 5 out of 5 movie on a $30,000 budget.
Sometimes you don't need money, man.
That's right. All right, it is my turn to give my recap and my thoughts and my howls. I love it too. I think it feels very original, and surprisingly, it is very, very rewatchable. You would not think that. I mean, once you know the end of it, you would think that it's not going to be rewatchable, but it is.
Yeah,
it's easy to watch, and it's very, very rewatchable, in my opinion. While I was watching it, I think the second or third time in preparation for the podcast, I started watching the what was it called? The Book of the Blair Witch, kind of that.
I don't know if I've seen that, like the documentary thing you're talking about.
It has a lot of the interviews in it, but more in depth.
Okay.
Like, you get the behind the scenes, and it makes it look like it's a real story, and that you have police footage, and it shows them the 10,000 man hours searching for the search parties and stuff. And as I'm watching it, my daughter came in, Jolene, she's 13, and she says, "What are you watching?" And she is into like ghost hunting videos on YouTube and stuff, so she's all about it. And not very often is she intrigued in the stuff that I watch, because I watch a lot of black and white movies that kids today would think is stupid.
I have a funny thing to say to add to that. My son, I was watching our next episode is Quick Cuts top 13 of the 40s. I've been watching tons of movies, and my son's girlfriend was over one night, and they came downstairs for him to take her home, and it was like 10:30, 11, and I was watching Cat People. And my son told me the next day, he's like, she said you kind of creeped her out a little bit because you were watching a black and white movie with no sound by yourself. It's like, it had sound. It was just a quiet part of the movie.
Oh, that's funny. But yeah, Jolene was intrigued by it, and I said, "Well, I had just finished watching the movie, watched that little documentary, and I said, "Do you want to watch the movie with me?" She said, "Yeah." So I restarted the movie, and she liked it. She was kind of creeped out with it. We had fun with it. So yeah.
Nice.
So 13-year-old girl that you would not think would like this kind of movie, she liked it. She liked it.
My older daughter, she actually asked me, probably like subliminally influenced me to pick this, because a couple weeks ago she's like, "When are you going to do a deep dive on Blair Witch?" And I was like, "Good idea. I'm going to do it sometime." And then I just went ahead and did it on my next pick, but she's a big fan too.
Yeah. But the way the cast, where those three folks work together, man, it's unbelievable. And I often wonder, I would like to see like edited out shots. I don't even know if that exists, but I mean, there had to be some stuff that they just decided to cut out and go this route instead of that route. But I mean, I'm intrigued by it. I really am. I want to know more about it. I love the backstory of the witch, and then the serial killer guy that, the witch. He said
Rustin Parr.
Yep, Rustin Parr. The witch told him to kill those kids, and just creepy backstory on everything, and easily believable, even though we don't believe in witches. But, I mean, there's a serial killer, and you don't know what's out in them woods. But I I am going to give this movie, out of 5 howls, I am going to give it a 4.
4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
Very
I
nice.
really, really like it. Highly, highly recommend it to somebody that hasn't seen it. And watch that Book of the Blair Witch. I think that's what it's called.
I'll have to look it up.
Because that even makes it better because you get all the
Yeah.
backstory on it. You see all those same interviews that's in the movie. You see those, but they talk a little more. You know, there's a little more interview there. But
That's cool.
I highly recommend.
I'm surprised
going
that I
way.
haven't seen that. Did
Yeah.
you watch it on YouTube or something?
It was on the DVD on the special features.
Okay. I think I have the same DVD
Yeah.
that you had sent me the picture of, so I'll have to look.
Yeah, but really good. Again, highly recommend, especially if you're into found footage. It's got to be
It's right.
my favorite found footage movie. I think
it has to be mine too. I mean, like I said, it's not the first found footage movie, but it's the one that put found footage on the map.
Yeah.
I think. But a couple other things like that I forgot to mention as we went along that were just crazy how it came together. But the original plan was for Mike to be the one that disappeared and Josh and Heather to be left. But they made the call during filming because like the tension between Josh and Heather had gotten to a point that it was almost like it made sense to pull him instead of Mike.
Yeah.
So like that was an on the cuff decision just based on how filming had gone and like how their dynamic was working. So like it was meant to be the other guy, but it ended up being Josh. So that's cool. And like I said, they filmed different endings. Like they had to go back and redo it a couple times, but I agree with you 100%. The one they went with, that's how you end it.
So
to me.
creepy. So creepy.
Yep. All right. Well, that will do it for our deep dive review of the Blair Witch Project. Very, very much highly recommended from both of us. So if you want to support the show, please like, rate, review, do what you do on your podcast platform of choice, which does include YouTube now if you want to listen on there. We have merch. You can go to nevernothorror.dashery.com and you can buy t-shirts and mugs and hats and wall prints. Rich has both of the wall prints and they look really good. So got them framed and hanging up in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to support us outside of the show, go to YouTube and search for Rich Hansel and you'll find his channel. You can go to steveclarkbooks.com and check out my books. Links to everything there. Next week is Quick Cuts. We are returning to the Horror by the Decade series and doing our top 13 from the 1940s. So we are finally ready to do that. I am finally ready to do that. So let us know, comments, whatever. Hit us up on Facebook. Oh, that reminds me. I wanted to bring up some fan participation stuff here, tying back to our last episode where we did the remake roulette with The Thing and The Thing from Another World. You had mentioned that you questioned, like, I wonder why The Thing blew up, like when it flopped early, but then it blew up again.
Yeah.
You said, I wonder if somebody big name dropped it and helped blow it up. So I have 2 different answers to that, both that are like supporting answers. One came from someone I haven't mentioned on the show, but he listens regularly. He is a fellow writer and fellow podcaster. His name is Jason Meiske. He hosts the Sample Chapter podcast, which I've been fortunate enough to be a guest on 3 times, I think.
Oh, nice.
Where he interviews indie authors and then he lets you read a sample from your book. He was my first podcast that I was ever on as a guest.
Is that on Audible?
I don't know.
Because there's an interview of you on Audible.
It probably is.
And I listened to it.
It probably is.
Yeah, I've listened to it.
Yeah, I was on there a couple times. I listen to all my podcasts, but it's probably on Audible.
Okay.
But he wrote me after that episode. Let me scroll through here. And I love this kind of interaction. Just that people are listening because there was no prompting. He just texted me and said, my understanding of The Thing is that the VHS rental boom of the 80s led to its cult status. And then with the onset of social media in the 2000s, it began to catch on. Plus, I remember it played on TV often in the mid to late 80s and early 90s. And he said, I remember hearing about it in middle school in the early 80s before finally seeing it on TV, and then remembered my buddies renting it one time for us.
Okay.
So when VHS rental became
Yeah.
a thing, that helped it blow up. And then to your point about did somebody famous say something, my buddy, fan of the show, Todd, he wrote me and said that Quentin Tarantino
Oh, that'll
said
do it.
that The Thing is one of his all-time favorite movies.
Yeah,
So-
that'll do it.
So you were on to it. Like
Yeah.
that was definitely part
That'll
of it.
get
so,
you go wanting to watch the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
And see it in a different perspective too. You know, if
For
you
sure.
watch it as your perspective
right.
and you wasn't thrilled by it, but then you find somebody that you really respect and he's really lays into how great it is, it makes you
Yeah, it makes you give it another look.
Yep.
For sure. So anyway, that was a side note that derailed the outro.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure I got that in and it popped up there. So, all right. So come back next week, quick cuts and whatever it is, it's never not horror.
Oh yeah.
Are they slow moving, Chief?
Yeah, they're dead. They're all messed up.